That's a horrible way to start the weekend. '23, Trev TV. I'm the Trev. You know that. If you're tuning in, if you're watching, that's too sweet. Anyway, as I said to start this off, terrible way to start the weekend. If you follow Lamb of God like Trev does, you were in for a shock if you haven't heard it by now. And if you haven't, then I'm sorry to have to be the one to say this. I really am. I was out and about when I read this post. And basically, the long and short of it, before I get into breaking it down, is Chris Adler, one of the founding members and the sole reason I got into Lamb of God in the first place, is out of the band. He's done. As far as I know, it's a permanent done. But let's talk about it. So in a statement that was released, Facebook, Twitter, the whole interweb, cyberverse, blah, blah, blah. Dear Lamb of God fans, we returned last week from a great European festival run and our final tour with Slayer in North America. We're excited to keep the momentum going and dive into the next record. We'd like to officially welcome Art Cruz, who has been playing drums with us on our tour for the last year as the new drummer of Lamb of God. Art will be joining us in the studio as we begin pre-production and recording of a new album. We're very proud of everything this band has accomplished over the last 2 decades. We'd like to thank Chris Adler for his contributions over the years and wish him the best of luck in his future endeavors. Thank you, John, Mark, Randy, and Willie. When I read that, my first thought was your typical, wait, what? Are you serious? Does this mean Willie's out? Willie, does this mean Chris is out? Apparently, it means Chris is out. According to Blabbermouth, Loudwire, all the main metal sites, it's official. He's out. And I don't think it's a case of it was animosity or anything like that. It wasn't a great big fist fight or anything like that. Because if you've seen the Philadelphia DVD, you know that fist fights are not uncommon with Lamb of God. If you haven't seen it, check out Mark Morton laying the boots to Randy Bly. For Art Cruz, you might have heard of him from bands like Prong and Winds of Plague. I've heard him play in Prong. I haven't heard too much Winds of Plague. I might give them a listen now. But from what I've heard with him in Prong and from what I've heard with him filling in the shoes for Chris, they're not in bad hands. But Art has big shoes to fill. Very big shoes to fill. I mean, replacing Chris Adler, that's like replacing Vinnie Paul in Pantera. You know, if Vinnie was to ever leave Pantera, well, they were still a band, and they brought in somebody else. How do you do that? It's almost impossible. But as the statement says, I mean, going forward, Art Cruz is their drummer for pre-production, recording, and probably the next album cycle of tours. And again, I don't think it's a case of animosity. I think it's a case of going back to Chris's motorcycle accident where he tore up his collarbone, he tore up his right shoulder, he's got bone chips in his hip. He probably can't do a lot of this, a lot of the ruin fills. He probably can't do a lot of the double bass like he used to be able to. I imagine he's still going to be playing in other bands, just not as intently as he is with Lamb of God. But I don't know. I haven't heard too much about how he's handling his recovery process from his accident. I haven't heard too much of what he's been doing as far as drum technique from this point on goes. But yeah, for myself, I'm not trying to speak for other Lamb of God fans. I'm only speaking for myself. The first time I heard them, the first song I heard from them was Laid to Rest from Ashes of the Wake. This is before I went out and bought Sacrament and dove right in to the band. That first opening bit where you get the double bass and then you go right into the verse and just the orgasm that came with the amount of double bass and the crashes and the cymbal rides and I'm jizzing right now just thinking about it. I'm sure that's a lot more information than you need to know, but I don't know what to say. Really, I mean, he's only been their drummer for 20 years, counting just Lamb of God, not counting Burn the Priest from 94. So 25 years. All he's known is Burn the Priest, Lamb of God. I mean, he has done side projects. He was on Dystopia with Megadeth. He did a record with Protest the Hero, amongst other things. Yeah, to say he's going to be missed is probably an understatement. But at the same time, I mean, maybe it was a consensual thing. Maybe it was like, you know what, it's best for me. This is best for the band. I imagine it was a case of he's saying, I can't be the guy holding you back while I'm recovering and doing, what I got to do to get better. But yeah, shitty news. Now I know this was a short and sweet video, but it's just something that I had to get out. As a big a fan as I claim to be, and believe me, I am. I mean, I've seen them 4 times live. And the only time I've ever seen anybody missing in the lineup was when Campbell had to fuck off during the resolution cycle. He had some problems at home, and they had to bring in a sub replacement for him. And it was temporary because Campbell came back, and they kicked a lot of ass after that. But yeah, as a big a fan as I claim to be, like I said, a shitty way to start the weekend. It really is, but it doesn't change my stance on the band. I mean, I've always said, if one of the main members of the band dies, everybody should just stop, quit, and just do something else. So it wasn't a case of Adler died. It was just a case of it was time to move on without him. Like I said, he'll be missed, but this was episode 23 of Trev TV. And I want to thank you for tuning in. Even though, like I said, this was a short video, I had to make it. But feel free to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. There's a little subscribe button over there. You know what to do. You stay up to date with all the content that Trev puts out. If you really want to, you can find Trev TV on Facebook at Trev's TV. And you can also find Trev TV on Instagram at Rockstar Trev TV. So going forward, I guess I have to make the announcement. I've announced it on my Facebook page. I've announced it on Trev's Trade page on Facebook. I've announced it on Instagram. The hockey videos have their own channel. And that'll be at Trev's Hockey Show, which you can find here on YouTube. Now, I know I made the video where I was asking for viewer input and viewer opinion. And I thought more about it. I talked with the wife about it, and it just made more sense to separate the hockey from Trev TV and have it on its own channel. And I can guarantee you I'll pump just as many videos into that as I've pumped into this. Maybe more. As is, I'm already coming up with ideas that I want to give that channel. So if you haven't subscribed to that, look for Trev's Hockey Show. You'll probably come up with the playlist, but look for the channel as well. And that's where all my hockey videos will be from now on. And I guarantee I'll probably do the same thing for the wrestling show. So look for that once it's time to start making more wrestling videos. But as for Trev TV, I got one idea, and it's not even so much an idea as much as it is an opinion. And it almost goes against the grain of what I want to talk about in anything. Yeah, it's political in a sense. But I might make that. Otherwise, in the meantime, and in between time, be on the lookout for more videos from Trev. Later.